Hello, everyone. We're still alive, or at least I am. Um, we are returning once more to the Sith Resurgence and Lily Pete and
Yay.
her bad fanfiction.
So, I guess just a recap from last chapter. Lily seems to have written an abusive relationship, and I doubt Lily has any self-awareness to it.
I also doubt this.
I mean, considering how Lily Orchard is essentially a sociopath, I doubt she really knows how to write a healthy relationship.
Hi, Taskmaster.
So if I remember correctly, what happened was that Ray is still mad at Eliana for not telling her the truth. And so, yeah, Ray still doesn't trust her, and Eliana is afraid of her.
Well, apparently at the end of the last chapter, they patched things up, according to this first paragraph. We must endure pain to entertain you, Horned Rabbit. This is the dynamic. This is why YouTube exists. So that one man's pain becomes another man's joy.
Well, Horned Rabbit. It was like what 2 or 3 months since we did the last chapter.
Oh God,
It's not like we're torturing ourselves regularly.
Hunter X. That's not ominous at all. Oh, hold on. We didn't do our shtick. Hold on.
The following contains violence, coarse language, and adult situations not suitable for minors. Viewer discretion is advised.
Brutal!
I thought you skipped it on purpose.
Oh no, I just forgot about it. I meant to do it before we started talking, but I forgot, and so let us have this disclaimer. Its purpose is clear. It's just a little bit mocking. But let's get into it, shall we? 8 weeks had passed since Ray and Aliana had patched things up between them, and Ray had opted to stop putting up an artificial wall on principle. She'd come to accept that she just wasn't angry with her anymore, and that being careful about who to trust didn't mean she had to avoid her altogether. She still wasn't comfortable sharing exactly what was happening in her head with Kylo Ren, who had taken to bothering her every day since landing on Octo.
Gesundheit.
But the two of them were able to act more like friends, more like the friends they actually were. Ray had even involved Aliana in her lessons, opting for Aliana to train her in lightsaber techniques in the temple and having Aliana occasionally sit in on Luke's lessons, much to the older Jedi's chagrin.
Oh, I completely forgot about Luke.
I also forgot that Luke was getting
that's right.
just
They
as
were trying to
character assassinate.
like. It's almost like I think Luke and Eliana had like some kind of like a dick measuring contest over who should train Ray.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, drawing. My Sunday is going great so far. I'm just not super excited at the prospect of having to wake up at 6:30 in the morning again.
No, you wake up at dude. I wake up at 5 in the morning. Count yourself lucky, man.
Yeah, but luckily I don't have to keep this up. I just have to get through November, and by the end of like week 1 in December, I'll switch to a different schedule where I have a 3-day weekend. So, But other than that, my day's been good. How's your day been, Caesar?
It's been all right. Got some work done on my projects.
All right. So, I hope your day's going well, drawing. That's what I wanted to say. I was like, there's one more thing I want to say, and I forgot it. I also lost my place. One moment.
Something about Luke.
Oh, it seemed that Luke had run out of ways to rant about the Jedi's need to die out and had resigned himself to training her in the Force once it became clear that she wasn't looking to rebuild the Jedi Order. She only want to know how to use her powers so she could help fight First Order. It should be wanted. Wanted. Leia hadn't bothered them since threatening Ileana. In fact, Rey had. Oh, I felt like I said read Leia as Rey, but Rey had suggested blocking any communication from Leia altogether and only speaking to friendly officers in the Resistance like Poe. Well, Poe had actually kept in regular contact, sending them status updates. Finn had yet to wake up from his coma, but his injuries were no longer life-threatening. This news had brought relief to both of them, and it brightened their spirits a lot more as they continued Rey's training. But okay, so hi, Spooky. We are only about 3 paragraphs in, and I've already come to a point of how is Leia like allowing Poe to have this contact? Why is Leia allowing Poe to have this contact? Oh shit! I forgot what Aliana's voice sounded like. It was like annoying Valley Girl, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think.
No, Rey, you're. Oh God, I've lost my ability to do voices. No, Rey, you're swinging too wildly. Aliana said as she corrected Rey's stance with the training saber. Makashi is all about quick and controlled movements. You want to leave as few openings as possible and exploit as many as the enemy gives you. Oh, I mean, I guess is yes, but no, but yes, but also no. Like, I guess that is a point to Makashi, but not like the entire saber style. Ray nodded and worked to maintain the corrected stance before going through the motions once again. This time she kept the saber closer to her center, opting for quick jabs and twirls rather than wide swings. It was a bit tricky to commit to muscle memory as part of her instincts told her to keep the deadly laser blade away from her person as she learned to trust in her own body and skill. However, the thought of keeping such a deadly weapon so close seemed less and less daunting and more the more they continued to train. Mm, yeah, I feel like Ray would be a Gemso user had she actually trained in anything, which is, impressive. Yes, Form 2. Ooh, spooky. She's being trained on it, so she's received more training in this fan fiction than she actually did in the entire her trilogy of movies. Ileana's teaching her. So the Sith, Spooky the Sith, and the Jedi practice the same lightsaber styles. So Aliana would know at least the basics of all 7 forms, but she herself would likely specialize in one single form. Uh, with her improved form, she advanced towards Aliana once more. This time, her assault was not so easily countered. Aliana's skill with a lightsaber eclipsed her own by a significant margin, but the progress Rey had been making with their sparring sessions became more and more notable. A small smile of pride could be seen on Aliana's lips whenever Rey got close. Better. she said with a nod. Much better.
Thank you. Fuck, my voice cracked right there. Ray said with a smile. Now can we move on to another form? I'm starting to feel like Mikoshi might not be my forte.
Sure, Aliana said, deactivating her the training saber she'd been using. Which form would you like to study next? Sarisu, Djemso, Ataru?
Ray took a moment to consider the options. Sorisu and Gemso. Sorisu and Gemso would have been good forms to get a handle on, considering how much blaster fire she would likely be deflecting on the front lines. Even so, something within her called out to the third option. You said Atari works very well with a saber staff, right? Ray, Ray asked with a certain sparkle in her eye. Let me try that one.
Okay. So, if there was a form as that was ill-suited for the saber staff, it would in fact be Ataru. I'm curious, Caesar, how much do you know about the classical lightsaber forms?
I don't.
Okay, so there are 7 of them. There was the first form, which is, oh god, I can't remember its name. It's an S name, but I cannot remember it. But the first form is all about like wide sweeping attacks, basically. So very basic swordplay. No flair, no real flair. Taken to its nth degree, you're basically fighting with 7 swords. Like that's the idea, is you randomize and attack from so many different angles that you end up it ends up feeling like you're being assaulted by multiple opponents. Similarly, on the defense, it's the same. Relatively versatile. It's a style that suits it, that basically requires the Jedi or Sith to throw themselves into the currents of the Force and just ride the wave effectively. The second form, Makashi, which is mentioned here, was primarily a fencing form. So very tight controlled footwork, very tight controlled blade work, thrusts and cuts instead of outright like we're not looking to decapitate or remove limbs, we're cutting you down, death by 1,000 cuts kind of style. Well, the third form, Sarisu, was entirely defensive in nature, developed during the time when blasters became popular. It is entirely defensive. Basically, it focuses on maintaining the blade close to your person and just blocking to form an internal shield effectively. Taken to its master level, well, a Sarisu master could literally walk through a battlefield of blaster fire and assaults by enemies and not emerge without a scratch on them. Fourth form is Ataru. Ataru, actually Master Yoda's preferred form, is all about incorporating dynamic acrobatic movements into your fighting style. Well, so its primary principle is like 4 acrobatic rotations or Suma rotations. The actual on the offense Ataru's first move is basically to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So a completely randomized series of acrobatic jumps, flips, kicks, and slashes that were intended to confuse and throw off the opponent's guard. the most ill-suited form to the saber staff, at least in my opinion, because the saber staff, not only does it have two blades, but it's not very, it's very unwieldy as in terms of an acrobatic weapon. I suppose if, she modified Ataru for that purpose, she could do it, but I don't know why you would want to do that with a saber staff. The fifth form is mentioned here. It's Gemso or Shien. And Shien is specifically a variant of blast deflection. So it's the targeted blast deflection. So reflecting something in such a way that it returns to sender. Or the Gemso variant was designed to address the inoffensive nature of Sarisu, whereas Sarisu was all about defense, just holding steady. Gemso was following up your opponent's attacks with immediate and strong counters, like power blade, like basically beat your opponent down with pure strength. The sixth form is called Nyman. It combines the attributes of the previous 5 to a versatile jack of all trades kind of style. And then the seventh form is Juyo, which is super aggressive. If all offense, throw yourself into the force and just go. But here's my thing, like, if you have a saber staff, you're more valuable rooted to the ground because you can't move your saber or as dynamically as you could with a single bladed lightsaber. Like, you have to account for that second blade. And so when you're jumping and dancing around your opponent, and you lose more opportunities to attack than you would gain. In fact, I would say the best fit forms for the saber staff were Nyman because of its jack of all trades nature, Gemso, and Juyo. But that's my personal opinion because I've spent time considering what lightsaber philosophy I find myself aligning with the most. Rant over. Caesar?
Yes.
Do you have so what do you think, given my description of these styles, what do you think Ataru matched with the saber staff feels like?
I'm not sure, man.
You're welcome, drawing. Aliana nodded, directing Rey to sit down. As she did, Aliana levitated her lightsaber and spun it in several different arcs. Ataru is an aggressive lightsaber form. Its attacks are wide but very fast. It takes a great deal of control in the Force to make full use of it. As many Jedi and Sith employ a great deal of acrobatics in order to give attacks more power and unpredictability. It's best suited for open spaces, and the double-bladed lightsaber makes it even more deadly due to the potential unpredictability the form offers. That was an awful voice for her.
She let her lightsaber drop and opened her eyes.
I think this is still.
Oh, is it still her voice?
Yeah, this is still her.
Oh, sorry.
She let her lightsaber drop and opened her eyes. Before you can learn the Ataru form, you need to fully master how to use the Force to move as quickly, elegantly, and acrobatically as possible.
Rey nodded. Does that mean I should do a lap around the course? She asked, gesturing to the edges of the island. When Luke realized how seriously Ray was taking her training, he opted to craft an elaborate obstacle course around the perimeter of the island. Each obstacle tested Ray's strength, speed, and dexterity, as well as how well she could augment each of these traits through the force. She had managed to finish the course much quickly each time she ran it, making her quickest time approximately 45 minutes. Aliana's record was 20 minutes.
The course is ideal for general endurance and quick thinking, but Ataru is a different beast. What I want you to do is work on using the force to propel your jumps and control your momentum. You're going to be doing a lot of flips and spins with this form, and you want to be able to stick your landings as well as not get dizzy. Like, again, this is such a weird way to take her training. Because for me, like jumping around doing flips and kicks with a staff is just weird. Well, her quickest time now at this point in time is 45 minutes. It's spooky. You have to remember, oh, you weren't here, so maybe you didn't know. So 8 weeks have actually passed. So they've been there for like 3 months at this point. And if she's training every day, it does make sense. So at least narratively, we're still together. Or Ray isn't being Mary Sue-ish at this very moment. Although the 45 minutes and 20 minutes part, like that that was not that big an island. Even if the obstacle course is super elaborate, like Luke said, it augmented force speed has literally been shown to be on par with like the best people at augmenting their speed through the force have been shown to be super fast. Like in the 2003 Clone Wars little animated movie, Shaak Ti runs her ass down a train tunnel like super fast. Like she's a blur. And she still gets to Grievous like she's only she only gets Mrs. Grievous by like a minute. Not even that. So the fact that Aliana is 20 minutes, um, it says a lot about about her supposed ability. Which begs the question of how the hell she stopped a laser. I suppose it does depend on how, difficult the obstacle course is. Ray looked over herself as she considered Aliana's words. She was far from uncoordinated, but it sounded as though her Ataru training was going to test her body in ways she wasn't accustomed to. Even with how much progress they've made so far, it was something she noticed in Aliana's movements ever since they started practicing together. In the instances the Sith did an impressively elaborate flip or high jump, she was stuck. She always stuck the landing. Upon reflecting, such feats would not have seemed as impressive to Rey at the time if they had ended with Aliana landing on her face. She could certainly see how control was an important factor.
All right then, Ray responded, momentarily jogging in place to prep herself. So, where do we start?
Okay, the image that popped into my brain the moment that you finished reading that sentence about Ray jogging in place was Daisy Ridley in like Ugg fur boots, just doing like a little jog in place. He's with her Ray face on, just the dead-eyed fish stare, her with the mouth open, just. Aliana looked at the small path that surrounded the temple and got an idea. Using the force, she laid rocks of varying heights around it, and used her lightsaber to cut into their surfaces to give an unfriendly place to stand on. When she was finished, she looked at Ray. Let's start with 5 laps around this, but I want you to do more than simply. Oh. Let's start with 5 laps around this, but I want you to do simply more than simply jump over each of these rocks. Flip, spin, vault, airborne roll, anything you can think of. Each of these rocks has to be cleared with some kind of acrobatics on each lap.
All right, that sounds doable,
Ray said before stepping into place. As she looked ahead to the rocks in her way, she acknowledged how unpleasant it would be to into any of them. Taking a deep breath to center herself, she dashed forward to start the course, leaping into a flip over the first rock.
I don't know. Oh, spooky. Given what we see in the films, she would most of her abilities fall under alter. Under alter and control. But like she has demonstrated some capabilities in the sense category. She located the knife. So I guess you're right when you say she's a jack of all trades. I don't think they've started to develop her down a specific line of force abilities just yet. Aliana watched from the temple as Ray cleared every single rock on the first lap, only managing to stumble once or twice. As she started the second lap, Aliana felt Luke walk up beside her and glanced at him warningly.
Should we do like the Joker for Luke?
No, I don't think so. I feel like she's been making progress rather quickly. She's strong and she's dedicated. She's determined to see this through. Luke kept his eyes fixed on Ray as she cleared each stone in her path with a distinct form of acrobatics. She is more determined than I remember seeing in a pupil in a long time. It's refreshing, I suppose. Aliana shrugged again. I've never had an apprentice myself, so... Oh, I have no frame of reference. But she's learning faster than I did, though she's a lot stronger in the Force than I am. Strength only matters in application, Luke commented dryly. The pursuit of raw strength in the Force is what led to the downfall of many power-hungry Jedi. With the right application, even the tiniest creature could topple an empire, just ask the locals of Endor. Okay, all right, look, I know there are people out there that hate the Ewok scenes in The Return of the Jedi. I will speak in defense of the Ewoks if necessary, but bruh, Luke, even you have to admit that the circumstances surrounding that shit on Endor were very much skewed. Like, that is not a normal situation. Oh no, I killed Taskmaster.
Yeah, I mean the Ewoks. I mean the Ewoks had sort of the home field advantage. They knew the forest. They hid behind bushes. They hid in the trees. They used the forest to their advantage, and they were only fighting what, just like a small group of Imperial soldiers.
Yeah. It's not like they were fighting an entire Imperial base. He's on there, like, they ambushed them, took that, and they very much suffered many, many losses. Like, we see it multiple times. All the more reason why I'm teaching her control. But strength has its uses. Blast doors, for instance, and redirecting turbo lasers, and trying to fight with 2 lightsabers. Luke grunted, seemingly uncomfortable with the idea of openly agreeing with a Sith Lord. Ugh. Like, Lily, you are aware that Luke has worked with his enemies before, right? Like, he and the New Republic had to work with the Empire to fight off the Yuuzhan Vong. Like, he's not someone that's going to be like, I'm going to do,
Well,
like, he's not that kind of guy who
well,
would just damn his enemies.
well, don't forget this is not the EU. This is the Disney canon.
You're right.
Luke
do
would if
tend-
the Luke could and would if the writer wants him to.
I keep referencing better writing. So you're not uncomfortable about Rey being stronger than you? Most Sith would take exception to that idea. Being strong in the Force isn't everything, Master Skywalker. Your
Uh,
former apprentice is strong in the Force and he can barely use it. But no, I'm not worried about Rey potentially eclipsing me one day. On the contrary, I'd be proud of it.
yeah, just pray to God Rey doesn't kill you and take on her own apprentice.
Yeah,
Depends on how dedicated does Rey want to be as a Sith.
I mean, it was like during the era of the rule of 2, like the highest point of pride a Sith master could achieve was being killed by his own apprentice. Or her own apprentice in the case of Darth Zana and Darth Cognis. Even though she may not walk the path of the Sith, you've not demonstrated any shame in your heritage, yet you seem to have no plan to preserve its future.
You spelled it's wrong.
I at least do not intend to see the Jedi outlive me. What about your order? I'm old and wish my ideology would die. Yes, Spooky. Yes, she does. There's no point when she doesn't sound fucking pretentious. Aliana shrugged. I hadn't really thought about it. I'd been mostly focusing on staying alive and getting through one day at a time. But honestly, I would love to rebuild the Sith Order. Share Sith history with the galaxy.
Oh no! What? No, no. Yeah, we'll just. Oh God, I know we keep bringing up everything that's come before, but everything that's come before.
She smiled as she watched Ray circle the course. Maybe I will take an apprentice of my own someday.
Wait, I thought Ray was her apprentice right now.
I have no idea. It's very unclear.
Like, okay.
No, Joe Crazy. They're only the good bits.
Yes, we'll treat. Yes, we'll treat the Sith Order like the Japanese education system.
She believes them to be good, Spooky. Let's not forget that prior to Disney erasing the canon, the Sith had done some pretty heinous things. Like literally one of the Sith lords used magic to make a virus that turned people into fucking monsters.
Yes, a real Sith Order hasn't been tried yet. Actually, I guess there are. I guess there are a lot of. Alien is drawing a lot of parallels to communism. We'll talk about all the good things that the Soviet Union did while completely erasing all of its crimes against humanity.
Luke's full beard managed to conceal the depth of his form somewhat, although not by a huge margin. When darkness rises, light will rise to challenge it, he said, unamused by Aliona's enthusiasm. Ensuring a future for the Sith Order will only ensure everlasting conflict throughout the galaxy.
Oh God, I'm reading ahead. The next thing she says.
I don't know, Sith. Possibly.
Oh my God, Aliana is such a bitch. Holy shit.
Conflict will rise regardless, Master Skywalker, Aliana said, rolling her eyes. And when it does, I hope I or Rey don't turn out like you, hiding from your own shadow in the middle of nowhere while the First Order terrorizes the galaxy and murders billions. The Sith don't need to be around for that to happen. You can see it with your own two eyes. You just don't care.
God, she's such a bitch.
Wow.
But in all fairness, in all fairness, though, Luke is being a piece of shit too.
I mean, I don't disagree. Task, Aliana is arguing with Luke Skywalker because she is a Mary Sue and she has to be better than all the main characters. I like that she didn't give him a chance to respond, which would have been, which, you know, if Luke were intelligent, would have been like, yeah, half the great wars in galactic history were caused by the Sith. Yeah, exactly. She is indeed a Mary Sue, Task.
And if you've seen our recent video response to Lily Orchard, you know that it's intentional. Lily thinks Mary Sue's is actually good writing.
Luke's retort came a hair's breadth too late as Rey reached the end of her fifth lap with an exhilarated,
Whoa.
coming from the young apprentice.
I did it.
Ray said with glee, making her way back towards Eliana.
How was that?
That was great! A lot better than I expected on your first attempt, but it was amazing. Eliana's attention shifted from Luke to Ray, and her smile was brighter than a star. Ugh. I was certainly mistaken when I said you needed to work on your acrobatics. You can rest for now. We'll start Ataru sequences tomorrow. Ray felt a pleased grin grow ever wider on her face. Praise from Eliana felt unbelievably special to her. It was almost addicting. As she collected the remainder of her gear, she turned back to look at the other woman. I'm going to head back. Oh. That's you, Caesar.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to head back to the ship and catch up on some reading.
She said.
Either of you need anything, you know where to find me.
With that, she jogged her way back to the Fury, her body still bursting with energy after her extensive training for the day.
Well, no. Oh, Taskmaster. Ray, like... Yes, Joe. Joe is correct, Taskmaster. She's part of Eliana was part of a differing Sith Order that hid themselves away for most of the history of the galaxy. After the fall of the second great Sith Empire under Vitiate, who was an ancient Sith Order, like 5,000 years ago, ancient Sith Order. And yeah, she also had she just had the balls, given her family history and her own personal history, which has been to like just not get involved. Is call Luke out for not doing anything. You know, because that doesn't make her look like a hypocritical bitch or anything at all. Even as her training grows ever extensive, her pace is relentless. She's powerful and meets every challenge with admirable gusto, Eliana said, moving to follow her. That's when Luke grabbed her arm. One more! I'm sorry, what?
Wait, what now?
Eliana didn't hear him. She just turned on instinct and roundhouse kicked Luke directly in the jaw, sending him into the dirt. Her breathing was heavy and her hand was gripping her lightsaber, the real one. She stared Luke down as she rubbed his jaw and tried to pull himself to his feet. Do not touch me, Jedi. Eliana snarled, her hands shaking.
Wow.
What?
I've got nothing. That's way to respect the legacy characters. I see Lilly has about as much respect for Luke as Rian Johnson did.
Hunter X is correct. Yeah. I agree with you, Spooky. So the era would be like the setting for the Old Republic video game. And we're talking that era, which is like 5 or 10,000 years before the Phantom Menace.
Yes, and she also her order was able to somehow manage to evade Darth Bane's dynasty this entire time. But also, Eliana goes around telling everyone she's a Sith.
Luke looked up wide-eyed at the Sith before holding a hand up in a yielding gesture. Whether or not Rey told Eliana about him closing himself off from the Force, he didn't know. Even still, he was not in a position to try and bluff her when she already sent him to the ground. "All right," he said in a strained tone of voice. So, hey, Eliana, can we fucking talk about that? Like how you just fucking kicked a man in the face? He's for no reason.
She clearly has some kind of elitism against Jedi. Yeah, it wasn't like a Jedi killed her mother.
But she knows he's there, A. B, like, what the fuck? Anyway, yes, Spooky, that would explain a lot of things. That would explain things. But the problem is that Lily didn't think of that. So she's from the time her family is from the time of the old Sith Empire, or before the Dark Brotherhood. Eliana glared down at him and turned on her heel, running after Rey. She didn't care what he'd wanted, only about as getting far away from him as possible. She never tried to stay alone with Luke if she could help it. She could tolerate his presence when Rey was around, but without her, she wanted to keep an ocean between them if possible. She caught up with Rey halfway down the mountain as she clipped her lightsaber back to her belt. "Didn't think I'd stay up there with him, did you?"
Rey shook her head.
Certainly not,
She said, welcoming Eliana's presence. As they continued down the mountain, a flicker of concern across Rey's face.
I thought I heard you yelling earlier. Is everything okay?
She asked.
Holy shit, I just read the next line. But Rey, you heard someone yelling and didn't go to like investigate cuz you know they don't get along, right? Like she can't be unaware of the fact that they don't like each other.
I mean, we've already established that Rey's Rey's a sociopath. She hears someone screaming in agony, she'll just go, whatever.
Luke grabbed my arm. I don't like it when Jedi Masters put their hands on me.
Would it be alright if a Jedi Knight did it then?
But hold up. So instead of removing your arm and just jerking away from him and telling him not to touch you, your ass fully aware. So this was not a trauma response. So this wasn't like a immediate fight or flight kind of thing. This was, I am fully aware of my actions. I don't want him touching me. Let's roundhouse kick his ass. What? And we're supposed to like this character.
Worry etched itself harder into Rey's expression.
Oh dear, Ailey,
She said softly.
Does he know about what happened?
She asked.
Eliana was quiet. Luke didn't seem to recognize her, or if he did, he didn't say anything about it. "If he does, he didn't hear it from me," she said simply, and she had been avoiding telling Rey who exactly had killed her mother until just until after her Jedi training. She had told her that she wasn't ready to share that information, so it wasn't like she was keeping it secret. But as she and Rey grew closer, she didn't want to jeopardize her training. Rey frowned and reflexively reached out for Ileana's hand. Oh, I think this is you, Caesar.
Oh. Ray frowned and reflectively reached out for Ileana's hand. She felt the words hang in her throat, as if she still wasn't sure how best to order them.
I know that being among Jedi can't be easy for you, so I just want you to know that I appreciate all you've done since we arrived. I hope there's a way I can make it up to you someday.
She finished that thought, but gently squeezed Ileana's hand.
So you know, don't be afraid to think of a list of...
Think of a list that...
So you know, don't be afraid to think of a list that would help me do that.
What the fuck? I don't even know what the fuck I'm reading.
I don't know what you're reading either. Like, what the
Okay, she finished that thought by gently squeezing Ileana's hand. So you know, don't be afraid to think of a list that would help me do that. Wait, a list. Let me reread the paragraph.
Holy shit.
Ray frowned and reflectively reached out for Ileana's hand. She felt words hanging for her throat, as if she wasn't sure how best to order them. I know that being among Jedi can't be easy for you, so I just want you to know that I appreciate everything you've done for me, yada yada. I hope there's a way I can make it up to you someday. So, you know, don't be afraid to make a list that would help me. Okay, a list of things to help make it up to her for all the shit she's done.
Yeah. But, like,
Okay.
that's kind of... Is that not kind of fucked up to have someone quantify that? Like, that feels fucked up. Like, it feels fucked up to like, quantify someone, like, effectively saving your life. Because that's kind of what Ileana did. Like, that feels fucked up. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Ileana smiled and shook her head. Is it really... About to steal your Rey voice, Caesar. Sorry. Is it really anything I can think of? That was the first outright lie she told Rey since promising to never do so again. There was something she could think of, but she'd never asked Rey to try and return her feelings out of a sense of debt. The very idea seemed horrific to her. Nevertheless, she'd been letting her mind wander more and more, imagining a scenario where Rey actually did feel the same way about her. Oh, okay, so we found the line. You know, there has to be consent. Oh, it made reality a lot harder to deal with at times. Rey smiled and leaned against Ileana as they continued on their way back to the Fury. Ever since they had their talk, she rarely wanted to leave the other woman's side. On top of recognizing just how much Ileana has accomplished and put herself through for for resistance who still struggled to respect her, she was such a comforting and welcomed presence in general. Smart, funny, capable, and anything that didn't involve ship maintenance and unjustifiably beauty to boot. Her smile was captivating. Her figure was immaculate. Even under her Sith robes, her eyes were borderline hypnotic. Her scent of roses and cinnamons was unbelievably soothing. Everything about Ileana just made Rey want to be closer to her. Okay, can we stop jumping around in characters' heads? Have you noticed that?
It doesn't bother me as much as it does for you.
Okay, it bothers me because, okay, so I think the reason it bothers me is because I have a voice for every character in my head, and when we start jumping around, I have Aliana talking when Ray should be, and Ray talking when Aliana should be. Literally how my mind works. I hear voices in my head.
Good to know.
I get the double whammy of being able to think in pictures and have an inner monologue. And both make me sad. Yeah, again, also, Desert Bound Hermit is shown affection for the first time and immediately thinks she loves someone. Ooh, that's not ethically questionable at all. A part of her was beginning to question exactly what that meant regarding how she felt towards Aliana, but Ray seldom had a moment to reflect on it, since their engaging conversations, between their engaging conversations, the extensive training and studying of Jedi text, and growing continuously frustrated by her hallucinations of the insufferable Dark Jedi. Every time she considered taking a moment to think about it, something else demanded her attention. As if on cue, her stomach started to churn loudly.
Is this Ray?
Yeah.
I don't suppose it would be adding onto the list of debts I owe you by asking when dinner is?
She asked sheepishly.
Damn it, someone had to mention food. Ooh, now I'm hungry. Whenever I can find time to get something on the fire, Aliana shrugged. I've got some practice of my own to do.
Practice with what?
Ray asked, raising an eyebrow.
A light-sided technique I've been trying to work out. It's a little complicated, and I'm not sure if I'll actually need it, but I might. I've been trying to practice every night.
Light-sided technique?
Ray asked curiously, her studious interest piqued.
That sounds interesting. Maybe I could try learning it.
Maybe. You should focus on your training for now, though, Aliana said. In truth, the bar center shielding technique was not one that could be self-applied, which was why Aliana was working so hard to try and master it. If her theory was correct and Rey had developed a force bond with Kylo Ren, she would need to have it blocked right away. Assuming Rey trusted her enough to let her into her mind, which was no easy feat. Yeah, task. So I got a job because I had to, and that job has me working from 9 to 6, or from 8 to 6. It's basically every day, so I'm unable to stream at my usual time, and I haven't been streaming as frequently. But that will change. I'm trying to get, find my schedule, basically, find my day, and then I will start streaming on the reg again. Rey wasn't especially fond of using her powers to allow anything within her mind. She was more interested in pointing her senses outward. She could sense every living thing on the island where they were, how they all behaved through the cycles of the day and night, and when they were in distress. It was like having an entirely new sense. Rey absolutely loved it. She was even curious about possibly navigating the island using that sense alone. Aliana objected solely on the basis that Rey sharpened her technique first before she tried it.
As she extended her senses outward, she felt a little presence aboard the Fury begin to wake up from its nap. Once again, that's not how you spell it's. When you use possession, it's ITS. IT apostrophe S is short for it is. Anyway, she felt a living presence aboard the Fury begin to wake up from its nap.
I think your son is awake now,
she said cheekily to Eliana.
A porg is my son now? Wow, I've been up to more freaky things than I realized.
Yeah, spot on.
Very poignant, poor child.
Moving forward.
Yes, they've got fur babies now.
I felt that was appropriate. The night turned out to be warmer than usual, so Ray had taken to setting up a fire in the pit of one of the huts in the temple as she read her data pads. It was a good evening, and it felt nice to be out of the ship for a while. As comfortable as it was, as there were a few windows, and she was finding herself more and more enthralled by the changing weather on the island. It had rained the week before, and despite Eliana's insistence that she'd fall ill, she stood out in the downpour anyway, marveling at seeing rain for the first time. The few glimmers of actually good character writing in The Last Jedi only make it more tragic. I have no idea, Spooky. Although I'd have to say yes, most of her feats have involved telekinesis of some kind. That Taskmaster was a clip from a channel called Brother. One moment. Let me actually look at it, because I'll say it wrong if I don't. Brava Alphabusa. Which is like so that was a clip from his YouTube channel. Oh. Eliana had been right. She had gotten sick for a few days and had to put training on hold while she recovered. Though on the plus side, Eliana fretted over her the entire time. As she took a sip of the tea she brought with her, she felt a cold chill run up her spine. She knew this feeling, and she knew it way too well. This was the feeling she got when Kylo Ren was nearby. She glared up from her datapad at the image of the Dark Jedi and glared at him. So she's double glaring. She's got 4 sets of eyes. Bye, Task. Caesar.
No, there's a line from her.
Yes. This is Ray.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, that was Eliana.
Nope. Ray.
Fuck, my brain's being retarded today.
I don't have time for this right now.
Looks like you have nothing but time, Kylo countered, eyeing how casual Ray appeared to be with the datapad and T. You've grown stronger, I can sense it. And yet, you don't seem to be any closer to severing this tie between us, he said tauntingly.
I'm more than strong enough to put an end to your miserable existence the next time I see you,
Ray remarked coldly.
That should do the trick.
Without the Sith to save you, there is nothing you can do against me, Kylo Ren assured her. So does he have the mask? Did he lose the mask?
I think he's lost the mask.
Okay. You aren't the only one who's grown more powerful these last few months. And soon enough, I'll kill the Sith, and you will bow to me. Rey glared daggers at Kylo Ren as she rose to her feet.
You won't lay a finger on her while I'm still around. We kicked both you into the dirt by ourselves. Together, you have no chance.
Her knuckles were white with how hard she was clenching her fists. If Ray wasn't careful, her anger would cause this fire pit to flare up like the last one. She hadn't expected Kylo Ren to stand up, and she took a cautious step back when he did. He just glared her down and reached a hand out toward her. Ray felt something familiar prodding at her mind, and she started to panic, clasping her hands over her head.
You have you have feelings for the Sith after all, Kylo Ren smirked. She isn't as powerful as she seems. She may have beaten me once, but she has a scar for me, and that will haunt her for the rest of her life.
Stop it,
she said sharply, clutching her head tighter.
Get out of my mind. You're not welcome.
Then cast me out like before, he replied coldly. You wouldn't let me inside your mind if you didn't want me in here.
Shut up,
she said, her voice cracking slightly.
You know how violent, twisted she is,
Ren continued.
Creatures like her, creatures like her cannot know true love. The Force is strong in families. Her lust for women is
anathema.
Her lust for women is anathema to that concept. She is a blight to the Force. She's a filthy lesbo.
Don't you dare talk about her, you
You see how self-destructive her way of life is, Kylo interrupted. That's why you're reaching out to me, so that I can save you, so that I can pray the gay away.
I'm not reaching out,
she screamed.
I want you out.
No, you don't. Can't you see? The Force is connecting us, Kylo continued, reaching his tendrils deeper into Rey's mind. It is the will of the Force that you come to me and abandon the Sith.
Stay back, you wretch,
she cried, grabbing the pistol at her side and bringing it up to point at him. He's not even there. What do you hope to accomplish? She aimed directly for his chest, knowing that if she were to shoot, she wouldn't miss. Even so, she hadn't pulled the trigger yet. Her hands shook with anxiety and dread as he refused to back down.
I will cut the Sith down, he said matter-of-factly. I will purge her corruption from you, and you will fall to my feet and thank me for saving you.
Rey screamed, "Ah!" as she pulled the trigger several times, sending blaster bolts right through him and into the wall of the hut. Regardless, she felt him retreat from her mind as she doubled over in pain, and vanquished from her sight. She dropped the blaster and fell back onto the seat around the fire, shaking. That had been worse than Starkiller Base. He'd ripped deeper into her mind than she'd ever thought possible, wrenched out memories and used them to torture her. In truth, as much as she was looking forward to killing Kylo Ren, a part of her was afraid of him, but was afraid every time he appeared. Why? The guy's a fucking pushover. He was unskilled in many ways, but his ability to break through someone's mind certainly wasn't. And that he'd done it so easily from the opposite side of the galaxy. She covered her face in her hands and started weeping.
All right. Lily.
So we're still going with the whole homophobic Kylo Ren thing.
Just the fuck. Hold on.
Yeah, spot on.
Very poignant, poor child.
Moving forward.
Oh my god. Okay. Not only was that, disgusting and unpleasant to read, but Kylo, Aliana has literally kicked your ass in every single one of your encounters with her. Every single one. And what scar is she talking about? Is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember her getting a scar.
I don't remember her ever being injured by Kylo. Well, that would imply that she wasn't superior to him in every conceivable way.
Well, you see, Joe Crazy, it's because Lilly is trying to tie Jedi dogma to Christianity, or at least religious dogma in general.
Yes. Also, she fired blaster shots like into a wall. Yes, but blasters do make noise. So, how has nobody come to, check on her? Like, you know, after hearing blaster fire coming from her hut? This is like a gun going off in a suburban neighborhood, and nobody comes and knocks on the door is like, everything okay? Fair enough, Spooky, but at no point has it been mentioned that Rey carries a silenced blaster on her.
Yeah, and hopefully the blaster shots didn't go through another hut. It gets the hut isolated.
I have no idea. Apparently it was in the temple, so that should mean that the shot should echo and, draw more attention.
Yes, Joe Crazy, exactly. It could go through the walls and hit somebody.
Aliana looked up from the lightsaber she was working on and toward the mountain temple. Something was very wrong, and she could sense it. Not knowing what it was she was looking for, she set her tools down and exited the Fury, running up toward the village. As she neared the hut that Rey had disappeared into hours earlier, she could hear the sounds of Rey crying. Okay, so she is not in the temple. She's just in a hut inside the village. How has no one in the village come and gotten Luke or Rhett or this stray or Aliana?
As a fanfic even established that the villagers even exist?
I don't think so. But the implication that there is a village is also enough to imply that there are people living there.
Yeah. I mean, my attention span is so bad I thought Rey was still on the ship. Oh well.
At least so actually, yeah, it doesn't make sense that Rey would go into a hut to do this. She's been sleeping on the Fury in a room with a bed. Why is she studying in potentially in an area that is potentially very uncomfortable, has terrible lighting? Because I don't know if y'all ever tried to do anything by firelight. It's actually kind of a pain in the ass. Yes, especially if you're not right the fuck up on it. Why would she not be in the room in the Fury? Did Lilly just move her from her room in the Fury and make her go into this random hut because she had to have that scene happen without Aliana interrupting. Wow. All right. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. Ray? She called out. Ray visibly flinched away from the door at the sudden sharp sound. And in an intense rush of panic, she called the blaster back to her, gripping it quickly in the hand it flew to and pointed it at the broken door where Eliana now stood. Wait, what?
Shoot her, shoot her, shoot her.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so she knocked on the door.
And then Ray used the force to bring the gun back to her.
But now
And
the
then
door is broken? Did she knock and destroy the door? Is she
Right.
Saitama?
Okay, that's right. Okay, she shot through the wall, not the door, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she took it.
Yeah, hold on. Into the wall. So it's not, she didn't break so Ray didn't break the door by firing blaster bolts into it. And unless Eliana is Saitama just not holding back, she only knocked on the door. But now the door is broken.
I mean, I guess the door. I guess it means like. I guess Lily's trying to say the door is like it. The door is in ruins.
But why is there a hut with a ruined door?
I don't fucking know, man. This fanfic is terrible.
Eliana lifted her hands up immediately, conveying that she meant no harm. Whoa. Whoa, Ray, it's okay. It's me.
I don't know how I feel about a Star Wars character saying "okay." Oh. Ray's breathing was erratic and uneven. Ray's breathing was erratic and uneven, and her expression one of ever so slight ebbing terror.
Don't ever do that again!
She cried.
For God's sake! Apparently God exists now. For God's sake! I don't even think that door was locked!
Like, Christ, bitch, chill out.
Okay, again, we're talking about the broken door. So in between this and this, the door somehow magically got broken. And we're just going to move on with that. It seems so. I will remind all of you that I think the last time we read this, we had pointed out that Lilly had edited this as of recent. Like, she actively edits this fan fiction.
No, Hunter, she didn't shoot the door. She shot the wall. But now the door is just between paragraphs. The door is now broken. Yeah, what was the name of this chapter?
I love you, Eliana.
Oh, it should be called "The Mystery of the Broken Door." The door is much more interesting than what's going on. Oh, is that our title now?
Yes. We can't save after the start time, which kind of sucks, but I will hopefully get it updated. Or it'll update when the stream ends. Either way. Yeah, so who. So, according to this, before the page break, Ray sends the blast bolts through him and into the wall. Then, Aliana knocks on the door, and then it's broken. So, either one of two things happened. Either Lilly, in some sort of fugue state, forgot that she had only knocked, or they edited out a scene, a paragraph, or she edited out a paragraph where Ray didn't answer and Aliana broke in.
And I'm just picturing. Oh, sorry. Go on.
And just simply forgot to edit the rest of the fic accordingly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just imagining Aliana like Hagrid. She knocks and the entire door comes down. Just walks in and goes, "Sorry about that."
Okay, I'm sorry, Aliana said, keeping her voice low and calm. I just heard you crying and I panicked. I won't surprise you like that again, I promise.
Wait a minute. Oh, hold on a sec. Scroll back up a little bit. I want to read what happened right before you got the gun. Let's see. Okay, Aliana called out to her in her own voice.
Yeah.
And she's still being defensive.
Aliana called out to her in her own voice, but in fairness, she did break the door down at some point. Well, I'm not sure when, but it had to be between this word and this word. Like, I understand the whole I'm going to point the gun at you because just because you called out to me doesn't mean, you don't intend me harm kind of thing. I could definitely see that happening in a moment of stress and panic. But still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
the door didn't break. No one broke the door.
Yeah, I guess to be fair, yeah, if you hear another person's voice, you're going to get defensive regardless. Your brain won't give you time to really process it.
Satisfied with that, Ray lowered the blaster and looked back down at the floor, trying to steady her breathing. Aliana approached slowly and sat down beside her. Ray looked like she'd just been put through hell, like the way she looked when they found her on Ilum. Her breathing was, oh my gosh, I've been reading that in Aliana's voice. Her breathing was ragged, her face was covered in tears, her eyes were bloodshot. Seeing her like this made Aliana want to hold her and comfort her, but she kept her hands back. Ray, what happened? It looks like someone hurt you.
Ray winced, hating how obviously wounded and vulnerable she appeared to be. Even around those she trusted and cared for, she hated feeling this weak in their presence. So pathetic, so disposable. She avoided Aliana's eyes, still unsure as to whether or not to admit that what the Sith already knew. Ray assured her that she would find a way to deal with this herself once she started getting along with her training. Bitch, just tell her, Christ. The key to a healthy relationship is trust. However, they were already months into it, and so far the hallucinations had only gotten worse. I mean, do they really count as hallucinations if he was actually projecting himself? Whatever. She was finally convinced that they weren't hallucinations after all, and that Kylo Ren was actually in her head. Oh, I guess that answered it for me. Kylo Ren was actually in her head somehow. Simply admitting that to herself made her want to vomit. She wanted to prove to Aliana that she could be strong, that she could handle this on her own. Now, though, She had proved everything except that.
It's Ren.
She admitted meekly, still not meeting Eliana's eyes.
What about him? Eliana asked, her entire body tensing up at the idea that Kylo Ren could affect her this badly. It had been bad the day after they landed, and then Rey had cried in her arms, but after 2 months she hadn't expected it to get even worse. What did he do?
He found a way into my mind.
Rey said, barely above a whisper.
Ever since Starkiller Base, maybe even before, I felt him. I've seen him right in front of me, clear as day. I thought it was just some force-based hallucination or something, but...
Her voice was cracking hard, fear and shame gripping her once more.
But he's actually in my mind, and I don't know how to get him out. It's just getting worse. I thought I could keep him out, but it's just getting worse.
Wait, did she just... Okay. She's repeating it's just getting worse. She repeated that on purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay, Lilly didn't just accidentally copy the sentence twice. Okay.
No.
Copy and paste the sentence. Okay.
No, it's just weird that it's weird after you read this to read this. This confirmed Eliana's suspicions. Rey and Kylo Ren had indeed formed a Force bond. She quietly cursed the Force for its machinations and focused her attention on Rey. I'm sorry. What?
It's the will of the Force. So I don't know. Maybe the Force does want Rey to be straight.
So is this? Are we? Lily, are you arguing that the Force is somehow encouraging? Let's be real here. This is what it is. It's mind rape. Really? That's horrible. And you've now made the Force seem like like it's actively malicious in its is actively willful. Well, in hatred, when in most of its incarnations, literary, film, the Force is a largely neutral entity.
I guess Lily thinks the Force is chaotic neutral.
Well, I don't know. I think allowing and encouraging mind rape would or actively forming a bond between someone who would mind rape someone and between two Force users, allowing one to mind rape the other, that seems like, oh, I don't know, evil. You've made the Force evil, Lily.
The Force works in mysterious ways, Clayton.
Piss off.
Okay.
Rey, I think I know what's wrong.
Rey looked up at her. Her eyes were hopeful, but they were still full of tears.
What? What's going on?
Eliana winced at the prospect of telling her oh my god, she's about to confirm this. She knew the information would only cause her more distress. The Force. It will sometimes bond two people and bridge their minds. It causes them to experience each other's emotions and communicate over long distances. It also has several other effects, but the important part is that the Force seems to have formed one of these bonds with you and Kylo Ren.
The
Lily,
color all. Oh,
you so confirmed in Lily's universe, the Force is evil.
might as well be. I mean, if we're pretty much establishing that the Sith are the good guys and the Jedi are just a bunch of incompetent retards, then why the fuck not? Yeah. Oh man, we made Spooky rage quit.
Bye, Spooky. I do have a clip for this though.
What have you done, Magnus?
Like, Lily, you've made the Force an active evil in the galaxy. Like, it's not a neutral force that empowers both sides. It's not a ultimately good force that can be twisted to evil. It is an evil force that does shit for chuckle fucks. That literally of its own sentient will, because the Force does have a will. Well, that's established. With its own will, it connected to people's minds without their consent, and then one of those people was allowed through the bond you willfully created to mind rape someone. The Force is evil.
The color all but vanished from Rey's face. Suddenly, the words Kylo spoke just a moment ago started repeating loudly in her head.
A bond? No, that can't be right. I never asked for this.
She said, tears flowing freely down her face.
Aliana, I never wanted him in my head. I never reached out to him. You have to believe me. I'm not hetero-curious.
Yes, she pleaded, grabbing Aliana by the shoulders tightly.
Whoa. Rey, Force bonds don't work that way. The Force the Force creates them of its own volition. Two people with a Force bond don't get a say in the matter. I know you didn't reach out to him.
Okay. So does Yoda just have a Force bond with just some rando in the galaxy?
I don't know. Oh yes. The fact that Snoke was behind the fact that Rey and Kylo could Skype call each other, or in the first movie, in The Last Jedi, makes so much more sense if Snoke is behind it. Because at least, Snoke doing it makes sense because he's the villain.
Yeah, so that's just horrible. Like, let's just say like some Jedi, let's say Mace Windu is on some mission during the Clone Wars. He's just at base resting, and then all of a sudden he just gets a vision of some dude whacking off in front of him.
Exactly.
Like, God damn it, Jimmy! I told you to stop doing that.
I know you didn't reach out to him, and I'm not sure why me knowing that is so important to you. Aliana reached back and gently removed Rey's hands from her shoulders. A part of Rey was felt relieved. This wasn't her fault. She didn't subconsciously reach out to the man who tortured and tried to kill her and her closest friends. I almost read closeted friends. She wasn't crazy. Another part of Rey recognized the horrific implications of the Force having the ability to link her mind with her to her worst enemy on a whim. Thank you. Lily Pete has now made the Force evil. It's evil, everyone. It's evil. But she tried really hard not to think about that. She looked up at Eliana, whose calm and reassuring gaze was tinted slightly with confusion.
I finally read the whole thing. She considered how best to phrase phrases without sounding ridiculous. A tricky task given the rush of unpleasant emotions she just had. He suggested that I was reaching out to him, so that the next part made her want to vomit as it came to her throat.
So that he could save me from you.
What Eliana's eyes narrowed. What a despicable. She took a deep breath and shook her head. Now was definitely the time. Well, joke's on him, because I think I can keep him out of your head.
You know, you did it. You did it that one time by the campsite.
Ray recalled.
But he was back whenever you turned away. How can you keep him out of my head for good?
That's the technique I've been practicing. I'd suspected there might be a force bond between you two for a while, but you wouldn't talk to me about it, so I couldn't be sure. In case I was right, I've been working on mastering a shielding technique perfected by a Jedi several thousand years ago. It can sever a bond, and doing that is very difficult, but it can shield your mind from outside influence and block the connection, like a signal jammer. I think Aliana's voice has changed a bit. Sorry.
That's fine. My voice has changed too.
It's your line.
Fuck. Ray's face lit up, helped in no part by Aelion explaining the process the process complete with a mechanical based association.
You can? That's wonderful.
She said, her sorrow almost entirely replaced with glee.
How does it work? Teach me.
She insisted as she brought a forearm up to wipe the tear streaks from her face.
1 second. Sorry, roommate conversation.
That's the
Okay.
thing.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. The shielding technique can't be self-applied. It has to be applied to a person's mind by a force user. It was intended to protect against a mind control power for people already under its spell. The Jedi who made the holocron teaching it didn't leave any instructions for how to apply it to the user. If this is going to work, I'll have to do it for you. Okay. So, generally, if you're under mind control, um, if you're under mind control, taking out the caster will do. Just generally speaking. Also, if this takes time and going into someone's mind, um, isn't it, not necessarily the best technique to have? I guess we don't know too much about it yet, but still. As Eliana said that, Ray physically put distance between the two of them. The hope in her face vanished just as quickly as it came. Her bloodshot eyes were wide with panic.
Sorry, I lost my place. All right, so I'm kind of getting tired of the Ray voice. I'm sure I've made the chat cringe enough, so I'll try a different voice. Yeah.
You'd have to go in my mind?
She asks, her voice somehow sounding brittle.
No. Come on, Ailey. There has to be another way. Just tell me. Tell me how the technique works, and then we can figure out how to self-apply it. Reverse engineer it somehow. We can do that, right?
As she spoke, a weak smile came to her face, her eyes pleading with Eliana to tell her that there was another way.
Okay. Joe Crazy pointed out something very important that I think we've missed or we just haven't addressed yet. So we've established that in Lily's canon, the Force is evil. The Force is actively evil. Well, because it literally connected a mass murderer to an innocent woman for no reason other than fucks. And we see the results of that action. Why then would the Force, if it is, evil, allow you to shield that bond? See, Lily, the problem with making the Force evil is now you can't use it as a weapon. It doesn't make sense because why would it let you do that if it itself is evil? Why would it let you stop this? Why would it let you do anything? Why would it let Ray learn it? Why would it let Ray be connected to it? Eliana's face bore this guilty look as she looked away from Ray. I'm sorry, I really tried, but Sith aren't supposed to open Jedi holocrons. They're tuned to the light side of the Force, so only Jedi can open them. It shattered when I finished listening to the Jedi inside it.
Wait, why only after you finished?
Yeah, good question.
It's very convenient. It broke right when I was done learning everything it had to tell me.
Yeah, how convenient. Ray's heart sunk even further downward. The instinctive, irrational part of her brain wanted to lash out at Eliana for not once consulting her about any of this before trying to learn it. Another part knows that she didn't consult her because Ray refused to talk about it. She couldn't muster the strength to get defensive at Eliana. Instead, she looked at her with a vulnerable, defeated gaze. Wait. The fuck? I just went down like 5 different mental pathways to try and understand that. So, the irrational part of her brain is angry that Eliana even learned this. It's despite the fact that Eliana was literally doing it for her to help her out of her own time and caught and destroyed a very, very valuable piece of Jedi history. And probably a piece of her own family history, potentially. Who the hell knows? Who's with Eliana and doesn't like her for it. And then another part of her is like, well, I didn't talk about it, so well, how could she know anything? But at the same time, she still knew enough to try and help you. I guess Ray's just secretly a bitch.
Yeah, that's been pretty well established.
By the way, it's your line.
Yeah,
Eliana, please.
she whimpers.
I don't think I can handle anyone else in my head. It hurts so bad.
As she reflected on her complete agony, Kylo's on the complete agony of Kylo's. As she reflected on the complete agony, Kylo. Oh, fuck! I'm just being retarded. As she reflected on the complete agony Kylo's probing had put her through, Rey felt the urge to curl up into a ball and cry.
I can try to make it as painless as possible. Well, Eliana said hopefully, laying her hand on her shoulder. It'll be difficult, but if we don't do something, he'll be back like he always is.
Rey,
This was her ultimatum more than 8 weeks ago. Oh, like this was your ultimatum more than 8 weeks ago.
Rey let out a harrowed breath. This was her ultimatum. Put her trust in someone who was already broken it before, or continue to fall victim to the creature who insisted on torturing her without remorse. She wished that the decision felt easier to make.
If I change my mind,
She began.
if you start and I tell you to stop at any point, will you? Will you put on protection?
But also, Rey, consider the fact that Eliana never violated your trust at all.
She just left out the part about her being a Sith.
Yeah. She left out the part about her being a Sith, something you didn't know existed. And were only told by someone else that the Sith were bad. Like, literally straight up. Eliana has never once has never once broken Rey's trust. Rey has just fabricated this trust break to justify her treatment of her for like 6 chapters. Can't stay mad at Eliana. He sacrificed a Jedi holocron on one of the few probably still existing in the galaxy.
Yeah.
She only sacrificed a Jedi holocron on one of the few remaining in the galaxy.
Yeah.
He learned a technique that is completely alien to her. To help me. He and has never once, deceived me to manipulate me or anything. And when I finally did find out the truth, I freaked out and tried to kill her. And then she bared her soul to me. And I still don't trust her.
I mean, it's a problem. Like, Lily Pete is a terrible person in real life. So naturally, she doesn't really know how to make a good person.
Yeah, she thinks Rey. The way this is written is Rey is justified in not trusting Eliana, but Eliana has never once broken her Rey's trust. The only reason Rey got mad at her was because she found out she was a Sith, something she didn't know existed prior to meeting her, and was only told that the Sith were bad by other people. like either Rey is stupid. Well, no, actually, no. That's the only answer. Rey has to be stupid. Rey has to be stupid, or she's actively malicious.
I'd say actively malicious. She's a bratty psycho.
Fair enough. Also, Aliana, what the fuck? Why does this? Okay, if this was originally intended to help people, to save people from mind control while already under the control of another being, so basically to shield out the influence, why would it cause pain? This technique was developed by a Jedi. Why would it cause pain?
Because it's an unsubtle allegory for sex.
I know. And I hate it. Rey took another breath, attempting to steady herself. She knew that it was either this or more of that scummy dark Jedi.
Go ahead,
She said meekly.
Aliana shifted a little closer and lifted her hand to Rey's temple. Rey winced visibly and closed her eyes, her entire body trembling in fear. Aliana felt a pang of regret at causing such a viscerally terrified reaction in her, and resolved to make Rey's experience as painless as she possibly could. With this resolve, she reached out with the force and gently slipped into Rey's mind. Once she was in, she was instantly overwhelmed by the fear, anxiety, and rage burning throughout her mind. It was like a maze of complicated emotions and desires. Navigating it would have been hard enough, but navigating it without disturbing anything and causing Rey agony was like trying to fly the Fury through a hole that wasn't big enough to fit the Fury. Wow. Oh, you couldn't be like flying through a swarm of comets, flying through an asteroid field. Well, any of these would suffice. But no, we've got it's oh, the Fury through a hole that wasn't big enough for the Fury. Also, again, this technique was developed by a Jedi to shield people from mind control, and to block out mind control entirely. First of all, why can't it be self-applied? Because that would be incredibly useful against such opponents. And if it can't be self-applied, why can't it be self-applied? Right? And doesn't that mean that at least one person in the squad who would have to be the anchor for this shield will be vulnerable to mind control? Thus, removing the shield. What a pointless ability. All right. She very slowly and carefully wormed her way deeper and deeper, looking for where the bond with Kylo Ren was hiding. Rey sat there, trying to keep her breathing even as Aliana worked. She could feel the Sith slip into her mind, but it was nothing like it was with Kylo Ren. It was cautious, gentle, almost caring. She didn't try to force her way into something Rey didn't want her to see. She carefully observed what she could before moving on to other parts of her mind. At this point, all Rey was feeling was deep-seated terror and anxiety for what might happen, but no actual pain of any kind. It almost made it easier to relax. I feel gross. Does this
Yeah.
feel gross to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I get yes, Lily. I get it. They're screwing.
Yeah. Like, the intent behind this is very much to be, like, deeply raunchy, and it's kind of gross. As Aliana sunk deeper sunk in deeper, she could hear faint echoes of repressed memories and subconscious feelings. She blocked them out. Perhaps another time she could help Ray sift through them, but for now here to pry into things. She wasn't here to pry into things she would rather forget. Eventually, she found the bond, a dark, pulsating presence that felt almost like a tumor. Appropriate, she thought, but as that was exactly what Kylo Ren felt like. She observed and analyzed it, looking for a way to root her shielding technique.
Okay, so what's to stop the Force from just reestablishing the bond because it feels like it?
Yeah, exactly. And why is the Force even allowing this? Why isn't the Force lashing out at Aliana because it formed the bond? God,
It could have just said that they could have, or Lily could have just had it to where the bond was established the first time he tried to mind rape her, and it's just been they've been connected ever since.
no, we have to make the Force evil for some reason.
Yes, God is forcing a man and a woman to love each other. I must bang the straight out of her.
Yeah. It was no use. The bond was dug in too deep. She'd have to uproot it in order to shield her. She laid a hand on the bond itself and traced it down, looking for each and every single root she could find, mapping them out. Ray clenched slightly. She felt Aliana find something in her mind. There was still no pain, just the shock of an unexpected feeling. Whatever it was, it felt tender, as if it would hurt if not handled gently,
Oh
which
God,
Aliana
shut the fuck up.
continued to do.
Yes, I'm sorry. Does Aliana have her fingers in Ray?
Only on her temple.
Yeah.
Only on her temple. They tried once more to keep Ray tried once more to keep her breathing steady. She bit back the urge to tell Aliana to stop. So far, it wasn't going terribly. As hard as it was, she wanted to believe Aliana could pull this off. For something with such little raw force, extracting the bond from Ray's subconscious took a considerable amount of effort. Pulling a Star Destroyer out of orbit would have been easier. So you can just do that? Like, I know people do mistakenly think that Starkiller pulled a Star Destroyer out of orbit. That's not the case. He never did that. The Star Destroyer was already crashing into the planet. It already had momentum on it. It wasn't that he's not capable of pulling a Star Destroyer from the sky down to the planet. Like, there are few Force users that could even achieve something like that. The amount of effort it took was already exhausting her nearly to the point of collapse. Oh, hold on. I left like a bunch out. But one by one, each snare, root, and barb of the bond was coaxed out of its anchor without disturbing Ray's mind. The amount of effort it took was already exhausting her nearly to the point of collapse. But the fact that Ray hadn't pulled away or demanded that she stop meant the effort was worth it. Once the last one was free, Aliana took a deep breath and began wrapping the bond in a shimmering golden light. This was the hardest part. The shield was a technique of the light side of the Force, which she had almost no affinity for. Even simple techniques like healing, no. Force healing is a very complicated thing and takes a lot of effort. That is 100% canon. Fuck Rey and her Mary Sunis were always difficult thing for her to do. She was unlike Rey or even Kylo Ren, who were attuned to both sides of the Force. Indeed, like most Jedi, she was only attuned to the dark side. This was not going to be easy for her or painless. Her muscles burnt as if she was holding two pieces of a cruiser together with her bare hands. Her mind felt as though it had been awake for 3 days straight. She felt as though she was nearly drained of the Force completely. Despite this, however, she persisted. The strain on her body as she continued securing the shield around the bond. It was clumsy, rudimentary, but once it would finish, had finished, it would hold for quite a long time. Ray would have to have another shield at some point, or maybe even deal with Ren if nobody could provide one. But for now, she knew she would know peace and quiet in her mind. Satisfied, she withdrew from Ray's mind, taking care not to disturb anything on her way out. As soon as she was free, she let go of Ray's mind and fell back, breathing heavily and feeling a dull pain in her chest. She was beyond exhausted. It took all she had to keep from passing out.
Yeah, spot on.
Very poignant, poor child.
Moving forward.
Nobody noticed.
Oh shit, our background is back.
That was gross. Also, so many questions. If this, so well, the technique developed is designed, to do its best not to cause pain. Understandable. It sounds like it takes a significant amount of effort. So, why is this technique useless? Like, this technique is so useless. It would only work if you were so its intended purpose. It doesn't work for its intended purpose either. So the way Lilly has canonized this is that the technique was created or developed. Get down. Was developed to block out the influence of mind control. Well, so spells of mind control or things like that. But in order to do that, this technique clearly cannot be used in battle or on multiple people at the same time. So it's useless on that front. And then so the other option would be it's used for, or when you have captured someone who is under the influence of mind control. In which case, you've already captured them. There's likely a way to free them outside of this technique. So why does this technique exist? And if someone had mind control and their mind control puppets were captured, it seems only logical that the mind controller would put a failsafe in that if you are captured, you die. I mean, the intelligent ones would. I suppose no mind controller Lily Pete came up with would fit the bill, but Ray felt Eliana withdraw and opened her eyes. As the Sith promised, the process didn't hurt, but it did work. But did it work? She reached out with her senses, as if trying to sense the island around her. Usually, whenever she did that, Kylo Ren seemed to notice and take the moment to break through in a way that she physically couldn't refuse. Maybe he did that so his claim about her reaching out to him would be more believable. Except this time, there was nothing. No sense of familiar suffocating darkness, no chilling feeling throughout her body. Nothing about this contemptible presence was anywhere to be found. She almost couldn't believe it. It worked. It actually worked.
Ray dared to smile.
Oh my god, Eliana, I think it worked.
Her words trailed off as she turned to see Eliana slumped over and exhausted, looking worse than she had after Starkiller Base. Ray gasped and took her by the shoulders.
Eliana, are you okay?
Eliana pulled herself into an upright position, clutching her chest and gasping for air. I think so. That was a very deeply rooted bond. Did it work? Are you okay?
Ray looked Aeliana over, making sure there was nothing visibly wrong with the Sith, aside from fatigue, before she answered.
Yes.
She said, reaching out with her senses again, just to be sure.
I don't feel him at all. Ailey, you did it.
She continued. She confirmed, pure, unadulterated joy on her face.
Okay, 1 second. My cat is pestering me because it is dinner time for him. So I will be right back.
All right, so who all's left? I know Spooky bailed out. Because Luke is a big dumb man, and Aeliana doesn't need no man. Yeah, so we essentially just watched Ray and Aeliana screw. It was their first time.
I return. Joe Crazy brings up a good point.
Yeah, which one?
Why didn't you ask Luke to help with this?
Because fuck that guy. She don't need help from a filthy Jedi.
Yeah. I Hold on, I totally just lost my place. Okay. That's good. I can't imagine what it would feel like to have that slime ball digging around in my head. She tried to stand up to give Ray some time to herself, but her legs screamed out in protest and she was quickly brought back down to her seat. Ow! Okay, not going anywhere anytime soon. Ray reached out to grab hold of Aeliana and steady her. Seeing how utterly she spent, she caused a flurry of emotions to grow in her.
I don't think doing this would. I don't think doing this would put you through this much stress. I didn't think doing this would put you through this much stress,
She said, resisting the urge to apologize, if only because she knew Aeliana wouldn't consider her at fault for any of this.
You didn't have to do this, Ailey.
Well, it was either that or you just keep going ape shit every time Kylo shows up.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, you almost shot Aeliana.
Oh my god. Well, that's a fucking thumping. I just decided to check the stats on the USL. Oh, because it's playoffs. Most Charleston Battery are beating Indy 11 4-0. And I think it was like the 20th minute. 54th minute. So they're just barely into the second half. That's a fucking thumping. Anyway, back to not sports. Ray, I wanted to. I've been working on mastering that technique for weeks because I wanted to help keep him out of your head. It wasn't about to I wasn't about to just let you suffer alone. I care too much about you for that.
That's right,
Ray thought.
Aeliana. She loves me.
Oh, okay. So we do have inner monologue for these characters. I guess once is count. I guess once counts. I suppose. Anyway, And like that, it was as if some final piece in her mind was put into place. Eliana's thoughtful, caring nature toward her, her warm and smoothing presence, her unparalleled beauty, her undeniable attraction, the undeniable attraction Ray had towards her went beyond just physical. She didn't just want to be around Eliana for pure carnal desire. She didn't want her relationship to mend after she didn't want their relationship to mend after Ilum just because she was petrified of being alone again. She genuinely wanted Eliana in her life. She loved her. Er, The realization alone seemed to make everything around her
Oh
seem
god,
blissful.
that art looks so bad.
Eliana appeared even more captivating and captivatingly beautiful than ever. Despite her weariness, the feeling of calm reassurance Ray felt in her presence felt stronger, but also joined with feelings of excitement and pure joy. Everything she felt for Eliana felt stronger now. It felt stronger because Ray realized the truth. Ray found herself almost acting without thinking as she reached out and laid her hand over Eliana's gently intertwining their fingers. Eliana's smile faltered slightly as she felt her cheeks go warm. As exhausted as she was, Ray's touch was extremely soothing, and the way she clasped her fingers made her heart roar. She resisted the urge to turn her head away, aware of the fact that she was probably blushing, and gave Ray's fingers a small squeeze. Ray, are you all right? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. You're kind of staring at me.
Shush, Ray said gently. Don't speak.
She leaned forward and kissed her.
Okay. So from this point, the shading, the differential is kind of bad here. I thought this was Omarosa's hair.
All right, scroll down. I want to see what the door is like. Oh, that's a window.
There's no door. Only window.
The plot thickens.
Why does it look like Ray has a chicken beak for a mouth? An inverted chicken beak at that.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks weird that she's grabbing Eliana's left hand with her own left hand.
Yeah, it
Instead of-
does.
Instead, yeah, this artist can't really draw depth very well. Would have been better for Ray to just grab Eliana's right hand.
Also, the window needs to have like more distinction, like move it over a little bit and have the wall here. So, it doesn't look like Omarosa has a thought bubble of stars or her hair. Her red lips were softer and sweeter than she could have ever imagined. The faint taste of cinnamon excited her. Her fingers clenched slightly around Eliana's hands as she leaned harder into the kiss. A small, pleased moan rumbled from her throat and into her mouth as the sheer euphoria of the moment overwhelmed Ray's senses. Eliana was wide-eyed in shock, as her mind struggled to catch up to the situation. Ray was kissing her. She almost couldn't believe it. This had to be a dream of some kind, but the taste of Ray's lips was too strong for it to have been a dream. She relented only when Ray whined and she just melted against her. Her eyes slipped closed and she leaned forward, returned the kiss. God damn it. Lily, I thought you said you edited this. Like, shit like this doesn't slip through your second draft. Her body still aching from exhaustion, but her mind telling it to shut up and let her enjoy this. Hunter X, you thought it was a forest? I can see it, but I don't think I can agree. Ray pulled away ever so slightly. He on to kiss her again, her lips gliding over another in a mutual assured act of affection. The interwoven hands lifted from the surface of the wooden seat so they could rest their palms against each other. Another blissful noise escaped Ray's mouth, almost curious for more when. Okay, the fuck. What the hell is going on in here? I'm old! Luke snapped, stepping through the broken doorway. Two adults are kissing, well, like you did your wife when you were better and not horrible, and not being assassinated by bad fan fiction writers and Ryan Johnson.
Okay, the locals do exist. Okay.
Aliana and Ray broke apart, looking confused for a moment, with Aliana wobbling in her seat. Ray quickly processed the situation and glared at Luke.
Oh.
Excuse me. What are you doing barging in uninvited?
She scoffed.
Hold on. Hold the phone. So, how long did this whole process take?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, like, it sounded like it took at least an hour.
It felt like it should have taken a significant amount of time. Especially given the descriptions. So I'm trying to get the timeline in order here. So Ray sees Kylo Ren. Ray and Kylo Ren have their mind rape session. Ray shoots the wall. Blaster fire is heard by the local villagers. Aliana, who is away in the Fury, so it makes sense that she wouldn't hear it because the Fury is established to be a little ways away from the village. Senses something wrong, goes to Ray, has a full knocks on the door, breaks down the door, knocks on the door, the door breaks, has a full-blown conversation with her, proceeds to do the mind meld, and then Luke bursts in as they start kissing. How long exactly did this take? The locals started yelling at me. Either there was blaster fire, screaming, and a door being kicked down.
Okay, there it is. We solved the mystery.
But who kicked it down?
Apparently, I have to agree with your theory. In an earlier draft, Aliana must have kicked it down, and Lilly just accidentally removed it while revising.
Mm-hmm. And then didn't revise the rest of the fic.
Yeah,
Lazy.
I think Lilly deleted it by accident. Like in my own writing, sometimes I'll accidentally delete something when making changes.
Luke exclaimed, less than amused. What am I supposed to do with that? Ignore it?
Look inside. See that we're busy and don't shout at us.
Ray replied.
Okay. No, hold up. What the fuck? Okay, bitch. Number one, there was screaming, so that's already a concern. Possibly connected to, the Naute, yes, but not necessarily. Secondly, there was gunfire, or blaster fire in this case.
Yes,
Should
but I'm
not,
horny.
should not be a part of the naughty. I don't care how fucked up your relationship is if you have a gun kink, see a therapist.
Ray let out an exasperated sigh, pinching the bridge of her nose before looking back up at Luke.
Ever since Starkiller Base, Kylo Ren has been inside my mind.
She began to explain.
I
Hold on.
tried to handle it on my own, but it only got worse over time. Aliana used a shielding technique to block the connection.
Okay, hold up. I'm still not done with this. And thirdly, this man walked up, saw a door had been broken into. What the fuck is he supposed to do? Peek in the goddamn window? Now I'm done. And the kiss?
I think that speaks for itself.
Ray said, crossing her arms at her master.
I'm a grown woman, Luke. Who I kiss is none of your business.
Luke turned his eyes towards Aliana, who was still in something of a daze, from the shock of the kiss, and overexerting herself again. Explain yourself! Aliana pulled herself together enough to answer him, though her hand remained on her lightsaber. There was a force bond between Rey and Kylo Ren. I used an ancient Jedi technique to keep Kylo Ren away from her. Excuse me. Luke's eyes widened. You blocked a force bond? Yes. And it had formed with a man who tortured her. Those kinds of connections are made for a reason, Sith. So, okay, all Jedi are evil. I see. Why do you use the Force, Aliana?
We recognize that fact, Master Skywalker.
Ray interjected.
However, we came to the consensus that that reason was horrible and decided to do something about it. Any objection you have is with me as well as her.
Luke said nothing for a moment before turning back to walk out of the entranceway he came. You're playing a dangerous game here, Ray. He warned, his voice low and ominous. You best make the right decision. With his warning given, he departed.
Don't get your hopes up, Master,
Ray said as he left.
Aliana was quiet, wringing her hands as she avoided eye contact with Ray. Now that the moment had been so thoroughly shattered, she was wondering exactly what was going on in Ray's mind. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't probe her to find out. The shield she had set up had impeded any attempt from anyone to break into her mind. She knew she had tested it, and was happy to learn that Ray wouldn't have anyone reading her mind without her consent. She couldn't even sense the feelings rolling off Ray like she normally could. That left her oblivious to why Ray had kissed her. She hoped it was because she felt the same way, but there was an equal possibility it had been out of gratitude. The fuck? I'm sorry. If I wish to express gratitude to someone, a simple thank you is generally enough. But if I really want to go all out, I'll treat you to like fucking dinner or a show. Be like, hey, let's have a night out on me, because this is a huge favor you did me. I'm not gonna kiss you. That's really weird for like for someone who doesn't have romantic feelings for you to just kiss you out of gratitude. Hey, Ray, she asked, embarrassed that words came out as strange as they did.
Ray turned around to look at Eliana. Her annoyed expression softened greatly.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Ailey.
She said gently, moving to sit beside the Sith once more.
Master Skywalker can have terrible timing.
She sighed and pulled Eliana into a warm embrace.
Eliana wanted to melt into the embrace and to just enjoy being so close to the woman she loved. She wanted so desperately to enjoy what might just be a fleeting moment and before returning to do whatever their normal was. But she put her hands on Ray's shoulders and shook her head. Wait, she said, looking afraid of what she was about to hear. Ray, what is this?
Ray blinked, surprised by the question. She had thought the kiss would have made it obvious, but it seemed as though Eliana wasn't sure. Perhaps she wanted to make sure that there wasn't any misunderstanding. Ray felt a soft smile on her lips, marveling at how thoughtful Eliana continued to be before she spoke.
I sort of acted without thinking,
She admitted bashfully.
but I don't regret it. What you did for me just now, it made me realize how wonderful you've been to me. How wonderful you are. I tried to keep my distance and remain objective about you, but I can't. You mean too much to me. You've been closer to me than anyone has ever been. I don't want to keep you away any longer. I'm just now starting to realize what that means.
Oh yeah, she's been closer to him more, Eliana's been closer to Ray more than anyone else, which is not saying much at all.
I like Joe Crazy's comment. This is still you, bud.
Oh. She cupped Eliana's cheek in one hand as she met her beautiful crimson gaze with her own.
I love you, Eliana,
She said gently.
Yeah, spot on.
Very poignant, poor child.
Moving forward.
Really?
Ray nodded.
Really, I want to be with you, if you'll let me.
Eliana couldn't believe what she was hearing. Ray loved her. She wanted to be with her. It was what she'd been dreaming about for the last few months, and now it was really happening. Of Oh,
Yeah, that's you.
I thought of course I will was in response to something that had not been said. Of course I will, she whispered, squeezing Ray's hand resting on her forehead against hers. I want that too. Obviously. I mean, you're super hot and I'm super hot, and so we need to be super hot together.
Ray let out a gentle chuckle.
Heh.
She held Eliana closer to her. All the while, fresh new tears slipped through her closed eyes and streamed down her cheeks. These were not tears of despair, however. They were tears of relief, happiness, and fulfillment. This felt right. At long last, Ray felt like she belonged somewhere.
Thank you.
She whispered.
I should have said boy vomit for this. Eliana couldn't contain herself anymore. She leaned forward to kiss her again. Ray's earthy scent hit her nose and made her feel so relaxed that she swore she could have just fallen asleep in her arms like that. Ray acted as though she were reading Eliana's mind. She shifted her weight to ease both of them down so that they were laying on the flat, smooth surface of the hut's its resting place. Ray grabbed a plush cloth to rest her head upon as she positioned Eliana so that she could rest her head on her chest.
Comfortable?
She asked.
I know you must be tired.
I'm exhausted, but it was worth it. Getting that grease stain out of your head alone would have made it worth it, but this, I can't even begin to describe how happy I am right now. I'm almost afraid if I go to sleep, I'll wake up and realize it was a dream.
Yes, please be a dream. Wake up.
Yeah, please.
Ray couldn't help but smile. She could hardly believe that Eliana was truly this adorable.
I'll be here when you
Oh god, this is such cringe. Holy fuck. I'm sorry. Hey.
I'll be here when you wake up.
She cooed softly before planting a kiss on top of Eliana's head.
I promise.
Eliana smiled, but tried to push herself off Ray anyways. Still, I'd rather sleep on the Fury, not within 100 yards of an old Jedi.
All right, we're nearly done.
Okay, hold up. Stop. The timeline has further been confused. There is further confusion in the timeline. If they're literally 100 yards away from Luke's hut, how the fuck did he get there after Eliana? And if it's a metaphor, or it means the old man is close enough that he would have heard things and still been there before Eliana. What is this timeline? What is the timeline of events? Eliana stretched happily as she came out of her quarters to the main holo terminal beeping. She sat down on the couch and activated the holo terminal, pleased to see Poe Dameron looking back at her. Tyrant King, that is an accurate summation of what the last page break was. Eliana stretched... Oh, hold on. Were you doing Poe or was I doing Poe?
I think I was doing Poe.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Eliana stretched happily as she came out to her quarters to the main holo terminal beeping. She sat down on the couch. Wait a sec. Sorry about that.
You're
She
good.
sat down on the couch and activated the holo terminal, pleased to see Poe Dameron looking back at her.
Did I wake you up, Lord Amorosa? He asked.
Yeah, but I'm in a good mood, so I won't choke you. Eliana snickered. What's up, Captain?
Just thought I might want you to know that someone else just woke up.
Poe said before stepping to the side. As he did, Finn stepped into view, fully conscious of on his feet.
Finn, how are you feeling?
I'll let you have Finn.
All right. I've felt better, But I can't, but I'm alive, so I cannot complain. Finn responded, rolling a shoulder slightly. Listen, it's good to see you too. But I need to ask you about Ray. She's with you, right? Is she okay?
Sorry, she's already
Yeah,
taken.
yeah, she is. 1 second. Ray! Come out here. Finn's on the holo terminal.
Aliana,
Aliana heard.
oh, go on.
Oh, if you want to do Ray's next line, you can
Uh,
read that.
Yeah, Aliana heard some fumbling from her quarters before Ray slid out the door. Her bare feet finding little traction on the metal floor. As quickly as she could, she rushed over to the hollow terminal, nearly crashing into Aliana as she reached them.
Finn,
Ray yelled with a wide smile on her face.
you're okay.
Better now that you're here, Finn said with a smile. What about you guys?
Ray turned over to look at Aliana, her expression warm and affectionate.
Oh, we are doing fantastic.
Everything's okay? Skywalker not giving you any more trouble? Poe asked.
A little, but nothing I can't handle. Poe told me Leia said what Leia said to you. Criff, that was horrible. I'm sorry. Criff, that was horrible. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse. Yeah, it wasn't fun to hear, Aliana said, wincing slightly. But I'll be okay. Thanks, Finn. Hey, we're all here for you. You're just as much part of this as anyone, no matter what the General says. Well, I'll be sure to get her back for it when I tell her the good news.
What good news?
Ray, alien. Ugh. Ray and Aliana looked at each other and smiled before they leaned and briefly kissed. When they pulled away, they saw Poe's eyes widened and Finn looking really smug.
Oh, the general is going to flip, Poe said, covering his mouth and started laughing.
The admirals are already watching for her attitude shifts whenever anyone mentions Amarosa's name. But when this news reaches her, it's going to be like Life Day on Tatooine.
God, no. Lilly, don't bring up the holiday special. No. We're not about to talk about the holiday special. It's so fun. It's so awful. But it has its moments where it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like Han Solo's weird deformed face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your turn, man.
I'm so happy to see that things are better between you two.
Thanks, Finn,
Ray said, wrapping her arms around Aliana.
I'm happy to see you doing better.
Well, enough to try my luck at round 2 with Kylo Ren. And Finn said, a look of determination clear through the filters of the hollow.
Easy there, soldier, Poe said, placing hand on Finn's shoulder. Let's make sure you're back at 100% before we send you after another dark Jedi.
And you'll need a new lightsaber if you're going to try that kind of stunt. Aliana smiled, but then her face lit up with an idea. Actually, I'm working on a set of stock lightsabers. Would you like me to build you one? Finn's eyes went wide. You can do that? Oh, absolutely. That would be just peachy.
Wait a minute. You said that Finn hitter is force sensitive, right?
Poe asked.
Well, according to Ahsoka, it doesn't matter anymore. You can get to be handed a lightsaber and trained a little, and suddenly, yes, you can connect to the Force. Indeed, he is.
So does that mean we should send him your guys' way?
And Poe continued.
And have to deal with the decrepit excuse that is Luke Skywalker? Hell no. Once Rey completes her training here, we'll come back and relay all those teachings to you. All the knowledge with none of the old man smells.
Sounds fucking gay, bitch. Poe nodded. When do you expect to come back?
We're just gonna shoot Luke in the back, I guess. Fuck. Like, the man's character didn't deserve to be assassinated twice. Assuming we don't get a distress call, another month at the most. Oh, that's you.
Oh crap.
Assuming we don't get a distress call. Another month at most.
Rey nodded.
I've learned most of the basics, and that's all all that's really left is to finish my lightsaber training and to build my lightsaber.
We hope you can have you back sooner rather than later. Poe smiled. And please let me know when you break the news to General Organa. I can't miss that.
Will do, Poe. Thank you.
God, that was awful. that was on a different level. Like, a lot of these chapters, I've said, like, Tyrant King, I see your message, and we'll deal with that in a moment. I'll tell you about it. But like, most of these chapters, I just say, like, they're boring, they're poorly written, they're da 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 da. No, this chapter actively made me feel gross on more than one occasion. Like, it was like Lilly took an active effort to try and make me uncomfortable. We've got the mind rape scene, which is just in very poor taste, to be completely honest. And then the shielding scene, which doesn't make sense, is clearly there just for the plot. And that scene drags on, not to mention the entire thing is so confused in how long it takes. And good Lord, the hypocrisy and disrespect on every character's side, and from every character, is on a level like that's insane. And I think the worst thing, though, is Lilly has made the Force, the willful entity that is the Force, completely irredeemably evil. Completely and utterly irredeemably evil. Because if the Force has a light and dark side, if that is the truth, if that is the case, then that means that the Force's will is able to determine right and wrong. The very minimum, it is able to determine right and wrong. And it still actively decided to bond Kylo Ren, a man who is evil by this story's own lore. He executed a village, he's killed people, he killed his own father, or all that. And bond him to an innocent girl from a desert planet. And because the Force is like all things, it knew what Kylo Ren would do with that bond. And apparently, this does this for any reason at all. Well, for fucks, basically. So, Lily, in a single chapter, you have turned the Force into a being of evil, which begs the question of why Amorosa uses it at all. And you've also turned Luke into a man that is okay with evil being done, which is not the case. Very much not the case. What the fuck? All right, my rant is done. Now then, on to a different rant. So, hey, Caesar, you know that show Ahsoka?
Yes, I'm aware of it, Clayton.
Okay. So you remember that girl that was dating what was his name? Oh, Ezra Miller. Or in the Star Wars Rebels show?
Yeah, you called him Ezra Miller. You called him Miller on purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Sabine
Bridger
Wren.
is not much better. So Ahsoka, in her wisdom, after encountering Ezra Bridger and his cohort of misfits, decided to take Sabine on as her Jedi apprentice. Sabine the Mandalorian, who have never had a recorded Jedi in all of history, in all of Star Wars canon. Sabine, who has no connection to the Force beyond, what is imbued by, the Force itself. And she takes her on as her Jedi apprentice. By the end of the series, Sabine can use the Force. So clearly, it doesn't matter that the Force is run stronger in family lines. It doesn't matter that it's the Force. So I guess the Force is just anybody can use it. They just aren't working hard enough. How awesome is that?
Yeah, Dave Filoni sounds like a one-trick pony. Yeah, he struck gold with Clone Wars, but then the mine dried up right after that.
Like, I watched several episodes of Ahsoka. I think I watched like half the series. And I said when one of my viewers asked me to like review it on a stream, I out and out told him the plot didn't make any sense. The characters were bland and boring. But its worst sin is that it seems to just like it. I think the worst thing about it is it makes me question Dave Filoni's writing. Like if I go back and watch Clone Wars and like watch Clone Wars, is Clone Wars gonna make sense? Will the writing hold up? That's not a fun thing to consider. Well, Tyrant King, since Ahsoka is canon lore, that is how the Force works. Ain't it fun? Aren't you excited? We Star Wars fans, we good Star Wars fans who aren't racist or sexist at all, well, well haven't been fed such delicious is diverse propaganda since Reva was revealed to be the true savior of the galaxy.
Yeah. Dark time to be a Star Wars fan.
Hold on. I want to go through the comments. Let's see.
Oh man.
2 pages. All right. Is
We don't
there
have to go through
anything
all of them, do we?
negative?
And
All right, let's
out racism. Sorry, I was reading Michaela's icon.
Oh.
I have no idea what the OWT even stands for.
You mean this?
No, Michaela. It was on the second page. There it is. And OTW racism.
One moment.
Okay. Find anything?
Yep.
What does it stand for?
Apparently it's a group within AO3 that it's a bunch of activists on AO3. They're fighting against racism.
Oh. What does the OTW stand for?
I don't know. Probably on the web.
Ah. Michaela, do you not understand how the internet works? Like, that's not how the internet works. You're going to have slurs thrown at you regardless of what race you are. Most of the time, it's not even really racist. It's just people being trolls. And a lot of the times, it's going to be your own race calling you slurs. Anyway.
All right, so aside from the annoying running commentary on this comment, it's like excellent chapter. Really love reading Ray and Allie's thought processes just through the whole mind shield thing, especially with how careful Allie made sure to be, even though it exhausted her because of Ray's trauma. Their feelings about the kiss were also very well written. These people are delusional. They're insane. Like, this is why I don't read the comments of fics I read. Yes, exactly, Joe Crazy. I love the romance here. That the romance here isn't dragged out like so many other, especially gay couples in stories. I never knew I loved saccharine sapphic romance before, but this fic has officially opened my eyes. No.
Well,
No. This was
you need higher standards.
Yeah. Best chapter yet? Bullshit. No. I promise. Lies. This is probably the worst written chapter yet. It's like these people in the comments don't read. They don't take the time to examine the nature of the work. They don't look at the building blocks of the scenes they're taking in. They just consume. These are Ahsoka fans. I'm sorry to any fans of Ahsoka in the audience, but it's kind of true. Like, sit back and like have your brain turned on when you watch it. Don't don't look at your phone. Sit and actually watch the program.
Yep. So, and let's see, on the first page, Lilly has everybody's ages listed. Let's see, Rey is 19, Aeliana is 24, Finn is 23, Poe is 31, Kylo is 30. I don't remember who these other two characters are.
What are the names?
Talon is 25 and Jana is 26.
We haven't been introduced to them yet. Almost 100% sure. Anyway, that is going to be all for us today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please remember to leave a like down below. Oh, and if you are not already, please subscribe. I will try to be going live a little bit more this coming week. I'm thinking potentially Tuesday and Thursday are going to be like days when I stream. But we'll see. Again, like I'm trying to find my schedule here. And I actually like start work tomorrow and it's not just training. So I don't know how I'll feel at the end of the day. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, take care.